Bennie! I'll catch a grenade for ya. Throw my hand on a blade for ya. I jump in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya. Oh, I would go through all this pain. Take a bullet right through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same. No.
And welcome to the infamous segment of our program, Issues and Concerns. This week's Issues and Concerns guest is Bennie Pennington, one of the OGs of the infamous league. He's been in it since the beginning.
Hey, Pac. Hey, Pac.
Benny's been in the league from the beginning, and him and Grant have a special bond. So I will let Grant take over from here, actually, let him introduce his LB.
Yo, none other than my number 6, the big BP2, Benny Amilcar Cabral Pennington, live in the flesh. How are you doing? Welcome to the pod. We're glad to have you on, my brother.
Appreciate it.
And, you know, we usually let folks come in here and get what's off their chest off. You want to give us a little intro before we start diving into the things that we'd like to cover with you, man? I think you might have some things you'd want to say.
I got a couple things. One, get well soon, Dak. As you guys can see, I got on my Cowboys jersey, my TO jersey. I'm a big Dak Prescott fan. Even before we get to fantasy football, and yes, he's my quarterback on my fantasy team, which I was much maligned for after the draft.
It's your quarterback. It's perfect that you got the TO on now to do the "he's my quarterback" crying thing.
Right. I thought Dak was proving himself right for betting on himself and proving me right. But this season is a wash for him, so we hope that he lands somewhere great next year, even if it's not with the Cowboys, which I have a feeling it's not going to be. But anyway, get well soon. And then I want to talk about my fantasy team. Heard a lot of slander the first couple weeks. On the first episode, Grant picked 3 different players on my team to say that they were potentially the worst picks in the draft. But coming into this week, my team was 3rd in scoring out of 14 teams. So
Pretty good. It's pretty solid.
We'll have Grant defend himself if he can.
I'm saying, in the wise words of Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last.
You're in last place then?
Well, I'm last behind Jared right now, seemingly. So, down here in the trash can, in the trash bowl.
Yeah, I outscored Jared, by the way. My team has. I've got all the stats. I'm ready.
I'm pretty sure, in the words of otherwise illustrious Herm Edwards, former Jets great coach, play to win the game. Hello.
And how did that work out for Herm?
We had – it wasn't even when Herm was there. Yes, I mean, he's doing something in college somewhere, isn't he? Now they gave him a job. He got off ESPN. Why would you give up ESPN to go to some second-rate college? I don't get that, son. I'd rather just hear Herm on the weekends.
He likes coaching.
Your blood.
It's true.
He likes coaching.
Hey, you get talked about on ESPN every couple of weeks for upsetting somebody. That's Herm's life now.
True. It's true.
And as a meme.
So yeah, man, I know you in the infamous league too. Dak was one of the ones we did focus on. I think that was where I landed. I forget if that was a demo or episode 1 on that $22 Dak Prescott draft bid to secure him, and rightfully so, was looking relatively worth the cost depending on where you got him in the draft, because he was, in the running for fantasy MVP through 4 weeks. How you feeling right now?
So to talk about the draft real quick, so I was very much adamant about getting Dak Prescott coming into this draft for a couple of reasons. And I mentioned this at the draft when you guys said, $22 on draft day. You guys said, "Ooh, that was expensive." And I said, I was coming out of this draft with Dak Prescott one way or the other. So I think one thing that I've learned in this league, where it's a 6-point passing touchdown league, right? And one thing I've seen is usually a bet on a top 5 quarterback is a safer bet than a bet on a top 5 running back, because the running backs, and this year is going to be crazy because Dak got hurt, but usually the running backs, you got a 50-50 chance of one of the top five running backs actually playing the whole season. And so last year with my team, I actually spent, I think, $74 on Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, you did.
And I got his injury year. The year before, he was an MVP candidate. This year, he's like an MVP candidate. But last year, I spent $74 on him, and he played, 10, 11 games, and didn't have one of his best seasons. And so I told myself I wasn't going to bet on a top 5 running back. I'd rather get somebody in the 15 to 30 range or 2 or 3 of those, but I would bet on a top 5 quarterback. And I looked at the stats. Dak was the number 2 quarterback in scoring in our league last year. He was the number 3 point scorer overall behind Lamar and Christian McCaffrey. And then when I looked at my draft rankings, it was, Mahomes, Lamar, Dak, and then Russell Wilson. But in our league, Mahomes, Lamar, and Russell Wilson were already keepers. Mm-hmm. So Dak was the best quarterback available that you could draft.
Right.
And I said I was going to bet my season on Dak Prescott. And so, I thought I was going to get him for 15, 16 based on where he came up. It kept going up to 22, and I was happy to do it. And, coming into this week, he was the number 2 fantasy scorer. So I just say, when you said $22 was the worst pick, I mean, if I had spent $22 on Mahomes, would that even be a question? Well, or $22 on Lamar, would it be a question? No. But he's outscored both of them coming into this week. Mahomes passed him this week because Dak only played the first half. But coming into this week, he had outscored both of them. So I don't see how that's even a question, whether it's a value pick.
Right. Well, we thought the $70 keep of Julio Jones was worse, but
definitely worse
as a draft day value. 22 at the start of the year for Dak. Some people would have said might have been a little bit too much, but for a guy that you really believe in, that you want, I mean, you're gonna have to pony up. So, respect that you had the cojones to go in for a guy you really want.
Right. And hindsight definitely always 20/20, and I think you hit the nail on the head there with, if you would look at pre-draft rankings when it comes to auctions, right, I don't think that they really will ever value a quarterback plus $20 ever, right? Mahomes is probably still only like a $16 or something like that, right? Yeah. But you specifically, the fact that Patrick, Russ, and Lamar are all already kept, right, limiting that pool of getting your top 5 quarterback raises the price up for all the rest of them. So I definitely see where you're coming from that, and I can, accept where I may have been incorrect. So less so for the point scoring, more so for the scarcity at that position for a top 5 guy. I see where you're coming from there, and I appreciate the pre-draft research that it seems you have put into this too, which apparently games need to be stepped up. I did also this weekend, where we might be talking about another pod matchup later here in the segment, realized for the first time this season that touchdowns are 6 points for passing touchdowns. And I was like, A-Rod's been crushing for me, and I'm just like, he's been having good games, whatever. He's been balling. I'm not looking at that too close. And my big boy, Jay Bear, long lost son of Guy Bear. We're pretty sure he's got some black in him. He wears Black Lives Matter on the back of his helmet. I saw what he did for me in DraftKings, and didn't quite get me over the hump. But then when I clicked over to Infamous, I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was happy with Dak. Like I said, I was 3rd in scoring. My record was only 2-2 because I've actually had the toughest strength of schedule so far this season. Most points scored against me, which of course I can't control. Manny can control because he admitted he changed the schedule coming into this year.
I change the schedule every year. Shuffle every year. You will never play the same schedule. This is not like some of the leagues that we played in before where the schedule stays the same 15 years.
Also 14 teams, so you play every team once in the regular season. So
shake it up.
So my team, even though I'm 3rd in scoring, my record coming in was 2-2. I'm definitely going to win this week. But I got 2 back-to-back games against, I think, the 12th and 14th in the standing. So I'll quickly be 4-2.
There you go.
And now the question is just, what do I do? What do I do now that Dak is injured? Who do I go to? I got Joe Burrow on my bench. He was looking great through the first 2 weeks. I think week 2, when he had 60 pass attempts, I was riding high and was actually trying to trade him off to see if I could get some value for him. But now the question is he's come back down to earth the last 2 weeks, but the
Is
Ravens.
that the Browns game week 2?
I think it was the Browns game. It was the Thursday nighter. Yeah.
Right.
Pass attempts. Anybody that's going to throw the ball that much is going to have some options. So, he had a bad week this week against the Ravens defense. We'll see how he bounces back. He's got the Indy defense next week, which is the #1 fantasy scoring defense.
Yep.
Not great there, but
Craziness.
I got to pick up somebody else. Got it. And I'm also debating whether it's even makes sense to put Dak in my IR slot or just to drop him altogether because I got some other people in my IR. Because I'm not going to keep him now at $25 for next year. I can't justify that.
No.
Right.
No.
25 coming off an injury. So I'm debating if I should just drop him or just leave him in my IR.
I will say, I don't know. I don't want to cut you off, Manny. I'm saying, if it's a keeper league, right, maybe that's where you were going, right? I think we know of one other Dallas Cowboy fan in the league who has no keepers coming into the season.
Yes.
Saying.
I was going to say that the roster spot for you is the roster spot itself has value. So keeping Dak in your IR, keeping your Dak on your bench is unacceptable. Right. So keeping him on your IR is also unacceptable if you're not going to keep him because he has no value for the rest of the year.
Right.
So I don't think it's much of, for me, it's not much of a thought process. It's a matter of who are you going to get to replace him ultimately. Are you going to run with who's on your bench?
So like I said, all I've got right now is Joe Burrow. I've been looking at, of course I'm considering Andy Dalton, right?
Nick Mullins.
The Cowboys defense.
Small dick Nick.
They're going to be losing and throwing almost every game because this is atrocious. I think they've given up the second most points in the league this year, Cowboys.
The defense is very bad.
Baker Mayfield is out there in our league. Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I know he's just temporary. Eventually, Tua's coming for that job this season. Carson Wentz is hit or miss. Phillip Rivers is there. I'm definitely not going into the Washington football team mix with any of those guys. So it'll be between
you don't want strong leg, Alex,
Patrick, and possibly
big leg, small leg.
Big leg Smith. Bye weeks. I think Joe Burrow's bye week is week 9. I need to consider that. But I'll be going to get one of those guys unless there's a good trade that falls in my lap.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask one question, because Benny just mentioned trades. I know that we've had a lot of trades happen in the league this year. I think more so than any year that I can remember, at least to this point, honestly, as members who've been in here the whole time of the league's existence. But how you feel about, is there one trade in particular that you kind of feel a little is particularly egregious this season so far, Benny?
Well, this season it's got to be the Michael Thomas trade, right? And we all know that I was the most vehement, what's the word I'm looking for? I was the biggest opponent of that trade. So
Archie 46th himself.
I don't believe it was collusion. I'm not 100% convinced that it wasn't because there were some text messages from Archie that seemed very odd. It seemed very odd.
Someone else is texting you in a crisis, son?
After I was, so my beef with it was this. One, we know Tory to be somebody who will manipulate trades.
I'm like a budding businessman, so I just try to make good trades and I give people what they want.
Right. I'm not mad at Tory for that, right? I'm mad at the people who got, right? If Tory can do it, why not? So the trade, though, he was giving up a bunch of crap on his bench for Michael Thomas, who whenever he comes back is going to be a top 5 fantasy receiver, right? And it's just going to make Tory's team unstoppable. So I didn't appreciate that. And so I just let him know that I didn't think it was collusion, but I also didn't think it was in the best interest of the league to let that trade go through.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know that we've discussed it on the pod before, but in that realm, just a little fantasy inside baseball, which is all we fucking do here. I'm a strong proponent of the abolishment of the trade veto, kind of point blank. Commissioner option only for like the most egregious and easily point toable collusions, or like even if it's not collusion, like I didn't come to an agreement with Benny to dump my people to him, but I'm just like giving up on the season. He talked to me first or whatever, and I'm doing a Z. That's really the only times where I feel like anyone should be able to stop in and stop a trade between two, grown men or women, right? Especially if you're in a keeper league where there's potentially some next season value to the deal. You got to trust that people in your league are doing things in the interest of the integrity of the league, unless it's provable otherwise. I did actually also mean to vote against that trade out of spite, because we had just lost I had just lost the vote for eliminating the trade vote, and fucking just overslept that shit. And I feel like it was close, so I blame myself for not protecting you, Archie. I let you down. I was trying to be your keeper, and I failed you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that trade was silly, and I voted against it. So,
well, it's good to see that you exercised your right to vote. We also asked that everybody exercise their right to vote this November as well, and get Trumpito out of office. We need him. We need him gone.
Have you talked about our frat brother who is running for office?
I have not. Would you like to give us a little bit
Atlanta
more
representative on the pod?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to definitely give us. We have someone in our chapter who's actually running for public office.
Sure. So Zan Fort, who is a member of Alpha Alpha Chi, is running for Georgia State Senate in the 39th district, which is essentially West Atlanta and Southwest Atlanta. So if you're familiar with Southwest Atlanta, it's like the East Point, College Park area, and some parts of Bankhead, et cetera. That's his state Senate district that he's running for to represent, taking a seat that his father held in state Senate for a number of years. His father gave up that seat 2 years ago, I believe, and now this seat is back open for state Senate. He's a progressive Democrat running on a number of issues, including, raising the minimum wage and universal health care, making sure we protect universal health care for the citizens of Georgia. So, and an amazingly smart brother, definitely cares about people, invested in the community. Vote Zan Fort if you are in Atlanta for State Senate District 39.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we've definitely spoken about that in some of our pre-production joints, thinking about, once we get through the league, how can we get Zan up there and, or throw his campaign video in the middle of a slot thing. So appreciate you bringing that up. So I'm going to reach out to him and maybe we just clip that shit in right there. Fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, outside of that, I do think that, you were flexing a little bit of your league historian vibe with us when we were catching up earlier. So, you got some other things about the league that you'd like to share with the people?
So when I listened to the first episode, I was a bit torn because,
Is this episode 1 or is this the demo? This is episode 0?
0.
Right.
Which was the demo, right? Because
you're just trying things out there.
I spent a lot of time mentioning how he thought my team was, quote, boo-boo. Also mentioning how Dak Prescott was potentially the worst pick in the league at 20.
Worst value, yeah.
Worst value pick.
Right. And then in all fairness, he did say that maybe Le'Veon Bell was worse, considering he was just released. I think
definitely net better for his fantasy value. Definitely net better for his fantasy value that he's not on the Jets anymore.
I mean, that is actually true, that he could get picked up anywhere else. Probably work out.
And then he mentioned Todd Gurley for 40, I think he went for 43, something like that, dollars, was terrible. And Kareem Hunt, he said, was not an RB1. So I've got some stats that I would like to share. Just starting with the basics, right? We spoke about Dak Prescott. He was coming into this week the number 2 scorer in all of fantasy and the number 2 quarterback behind Russell Wilson, right? Again, he was number 2 last year as well. And I'll just reiterate, if it was $22 for Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, nobody would blink an eye. And he's outscored both of them. So next, Todd Gurley for $45, being one of the worst picks in the draft. He is currently 10th in running back scoring in the league, which would make him an RB1. Kareem Hunt, 7th in running back scoring in the league, which would make him an RB1. So is anything that Grant said about my team accurate? One other thing I'd like to just throw out there that I heard, this doesn't specifically affect my team, but I've got Daniel Jones in another league as well. Also in that initial, I guess, podcast, Grant said that, quote, Daniel Jones is better than your average 12 to 24 quarterback in the league. Last I checked, he was ranked 31st out of starting quarterback. So I have a question for Grant, right?
Saquon was on his team when I said that.
I have a question for you because I love the podcast. I see what you're trying to do, and I want to elevate you, but I also don't know that you are qualified in any way to be speaking about me.
Damn, son. Damn, son.
So I was debating whether or not to, really drop the hammer on you like that. I think you're qualified maybe to speak about your team, but just not about mine.
Well, it's fair. Any good arbiter of the truth has to be willing to take the tough feedback in return. I appreciate the hard numbers backing it up. I'm always interested in improving my statistical analyses. And, I would say all those things I said at the beginning of the season again, though. Definitely.
Well,
football is
some additional stats for you then. And we'll see if you're still defending yourself after these next set of stats, okay?
Please.
So this is now the third season that Grant and I have both been in the league together, right? Last year, I finished 4th in the regular season. Grant finished 12th out of 13.
Wait a minute. What is
That was in the 2019 season. The year before, we both finished with a 6-7 record, right?
That was that tough year.
6-7 in the regular season. I was 5th in my division. He was 4th in his division. But with that, Grant has never had a better regular season record than me, but he's telling me my team is trash. Before that, I finished 2nd in my division in 2017. 2016, I finished 1st. In 2015 was the worst season I had, was 4th in my division out of 6. And in 2014, I was 2nd in my division. So my average division record, my average was I've averaged between finishing 2nd and 3rd in my division, 2.8 to be specific. Overall in the playoffs,
very close to my GPA.
Between 5 and 6, between 5th and 6th. I've only had one season sub 500 since I've been in the league 6 years.
That's pretty good.
So I think that I know what I'm doing when it comes to my draft.
Maybe in the infamous league, yes, perhaps. However, we don't live in the past here on the podcast. We live in the future, where I am currently 3-1, within 34 seconds of moving to 4-1, it appears. And
I didn't need to know that.
And to go back to something I said at the beginning when it comes to strength of schedule, oh yeah, I've outscored your team this season too, with those 3 worst picks in the draft. So
does that include this week? But it's also if I'm looking at it too right here by 4 points.
Now you've overtaken me this week since my quarterback only played half the week.
Wow. I almost came back this week too. Damn.
It does happen. You were correct. It was within the margin of error our scores, but which is also I'll just see here like the top 5 scoring teams were within 15, 20 points of each other going into this week.
Yeah, it's very close. It's a close year.
A couple stats to summarize that because I threw a lot at you. So let me just, if you have to have 2 sentences takeaway, I finished 1st or 2nd in my division 3 times. Grant never has. And I've never finished in the last 2 spots in the division, and Grant has. So that's just food for thought.
Motivation.
Right. What? Yes, cook.
Eat that shit up this year, son. Eat that shit up. I'm going to put it in the trash can right now. End of season, better record. Brooklyn Brimstoners are sucking my balls.
After the number 2 scorer in all of fantasy just got injured. Very convenient time.
Shit happens all year long, dog. I almost lost Nick Chubb last week too, right? I'm still here.
I'm still here. I'm still
standing. I'm still strong.
The challenge is not yet complete.
He was my fantasy number 1. That's my fantasy ride or die.
Let me see.
I'm also a Jets fan.
I end up getting off of between these waivers and with this fab budget, and then let's visit this next week.
Right. I think we know what we call that on the pod. Scared money.
Have you ever made a return on your investment in this league? I don't believe so. I've already gotten I've already gotten the high score of the week 2 weeks ago.
I got a high score week this week, so at least I'm getting something. I'm not a zero this year, but Infamous League has certainly been a cruel mistress to me in my fantasy life, without a doubt. Gotcha. And that particularly hurts me since it's all my frat brothers, and I hate you all, and I hope all the bad things in life happen to you. Only you all.
I've also got, separate from that, just going back to draft strategy, if I can, one other stat. So I wanted to look at, because again, defending my pick of Dak Prescott, but just overall, in this league, is it more valuable to have one of the top quarterbacks or one of the top running backs? And I just did some basic statistics based on who won the league that year and where their quarterback was ranked and where their best running back was ranked, right? So last year in 2019, Manny won, of course. Now this is a no-brainer because he had the number 1 running back and the number 1 quarterback with Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey, right?
That's how you do it.
And the number 3 running back.
I was gonna say that was number 2.
But the year before Chris won the league, he had the number 1 quarterback with Patrick Mahomes, and the number 16 running back was his best one with Tevin Coleman.
Yep.
The year before, Manny won again. He had the number 2 quarterback, Cam Newton, and the number 2 quarterback, Le'Veon.
Cam, baby.
The year before, David won. He had the number 9 quarterback, Derek Carr, and the number 1 running back, David Johnson.
Derek Carr?
Right. Yeah. I wonder if that was a late season injury situation.
Yeah, it had to be.
I couldn't dig into who he had week 12. I just had who he had at the end of the year. And then the year before, Chris somehow had the number 8 quarterback and the number 7 running back with Kirk Cousins and David Johnson. How that won, I have no idea.
We don't know how Chris wins his titles.
And then the first year of the league, Brian won. He had the number 2 quarterback, Andrew Luck, and the number 2 and 3 running backs, Mark Don and Le'Veon Bell.
We were trying shit out. We didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, we know what was going on.
But if you add all that up, so people who win the league 4 out of 7 times, they've had either the 1 or 2 ranked quarterback in fantasy have won the league, and 4 times having the 1 or first or second ranked running back has won the league. So when all is said and done, if you've got the top 3 quarterback, you have just as much chance to win the league as if you had the top 3 running back.
But much less injury risk.
And with less injury risk,
which is
again why I would pay $22 again for Dak Prescott. And now I'm talking myself into maybe keeping him next year.
Would you keep him if he's not a Cowboy?
So it depends on where he goes. So, I mean, I really don't know where he's going to land. But if he goes somewhere like the Bears, I would ride with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he goes to the Broncos, I would ride with him.
What if he goes with the Jets?
No, I'd cut him. Nobody can win. Nobody's going to put up good stats with the Jets.
I don't think that's true.
No quarterback. What was the last quarterback to have a good season for the Jets?
What about Sanchez?
What do you call this? Good to be a good, yeah.
For what, 6 or 7 games?
Nick was not on the Jets.
What about Brett Favre's 1 year there? Brett Favre.
I think we might have even been there for 2 years. It was not that good. No, I would definitely have to be Sanchez or Chad Pennington for they definitely would have had top 12 fantasy years those years.
Yeah, I feel like Sanchez was startable in fantasy during those years that he was playing for the Jets. At least at something like he was at least bye week level, and probably starting for most teams.
Yeah, those 2 AFC championships they went to while he was there. You know, he had to be balled out against the Steelers 1 year, and then the next year against Peyton and the Colts too. So you know, he's just maligned by the fuckery that comes with the Jets and Woody Johnson and butt fumbles and
the butt fumble shit. Yeah.
And being rooted for by me, as I'm sure you will hear about forever if you're a podcast listener. I only root for losers.
Oh,
just what it is.
That's not true.
Duke basketball.
The Blue Devils.
Since your freshman year, I think they've won 3 titles. Yeah.
No, because I'm the year after you, so I wasn't there for 01. So just 10 and 15.
Oh, the Duke titles? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10 and for me it was 10 and 15 because I wasn't there for 01 either. Damn.
Right.
Yeah, 10
04 we should have won. 04 was the rivalry.
04 we should have won. 04, that's my BSI weekend too. It was there watching it. Oh,
I was also in Cameron crying leaving that shit.
Oh, we should have won that.
Robbed us.
Whoever won that game was going to win because they were going to beat the brakes off Georgia Tech.
Right.
So,
wasn't the other side like Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State or something like that?
Yeah. It was
whoever Mecca Okafor that we lost to that year?
We lost to Okafor.
Exactly.
That was Okafor year.
Yeah, that was when Sheldon, Shavlik, and Horvath all fouled out in that game.
Yep. Yeah, and the Sheldon Williams fouling out was
the Greg Paulus year. The year we should have won is when Coach K decided to start Greg Paulus over Sean Dockery. I was so heated. It was Dockery's senior year. To start the freshman Greg Paulus, who got Frank Weist. Some dude dunked over him.
Oh my gosh, that
he was laden with shooting. All we need was a defensive point guard, but Coach K wanted to put in the hot shot point guard.
Right.
Didn't understand it at all.
Hey, he played quarterback in Syracuse.
That's like who later went on to play quarterback in Syracuse.
No, that was before. He played before.
No, after.
He played after? Oh, it was after.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is 5th year of eligibility.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
It was so bad.
I guess no. Paulus played college football, so there we go.
He did. Yes. Yep. All those things are true for the moment. Time is a fickle beast.
It is.
Do you want to give us any I know you did make a quick reference to your W from this week. It looks like we've just made it through our first week of the COVID season, which with the conclusion of the Tuesday night football game, which has seen the Tennessee Titans run roughshod over the Buffalo Bills, perhaps signaling a change of the guard and to the Night King. But anything you want to say about your matchup with Brother Lockwood and Team Wood?
Yeah, I was confident going into the matchup, and when Dak got hurt, I was a little worried, but we still pulled it off. Todd Gurley had another big game. DeAndre Hopkins had another big game. Deontay Johnson, he's so hit or miss. So he only gave me 0.8 points.
He came out early in that game.
Yeah, he's back in injuries messing him up. But AJ Brown tonight played his first full game. Put up 17 points on my bench, so he'll be a starter next week. I'll probably plug him in for Deontay Johnson, and I'll be good to go going forward. Curious to see what CeeDee Lamb is going to do with Andy Dalton throwing to him. I think he's going to be solid because when Andy Dalton has had 2 receivers to throw to, he's done better than when it was just A.J. Green or just Tyler Boyd. I've got hope that CeeDee Lamb will still continue to ball out, but if Kareem Hunt and Todd Gurley stay top 20 running backs, which with Nick Chubb out, I think Kareem Hunt definitely will. If Gurley stays, will. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a top 3 receiver. CeeDee Lamb, has a high ceiling. And now A.J. Brown sliding into my wide receiver 2 spot. If I get a serviceable quarterback, I'm definitely making the playoffs. It's just a question of what I do after that.
That's bold. That's a bold prediction right there. That's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'll put money on that,
That's
Grant.
a bold move, Cotton.
I'm 3-2 right now. I'll put money on it. I'm definitely making the playoffs.
There's gonna be a lot of 3-2 teams.
I mean, that's like I don't win by you not making the playoffs. So I'm always like, Team LB, like as long as it's not with me. So I mean, I want you to make the playoffs because that means that some of these other non-APOC bums are not in the playoffs. Right. So I'm definitely behind you on that.
So it's just am I going to start Joe Burrow or not? We'll see.
Right. I did also see Brother Lockwood's team coming into this week, and I tried to get ahead of that with some trade offers, seeing that he was going to play Keyshawn Vaughn at running back. I actually heard some shit last week, and I guess he had like a semi-pop the week before coming in when Fournette didn't play at all that game, but Fournette was going to maybe play. I don't even know if he played it, whatever that was. Could not pick Keyshawn Vaughn out of a lineup. He also played Greg Ward for double-digit points somehow. Congratulations to him on that.
Greg Ward has been surprisingly good for 2 weeks in a row.
Right. And you got unlucky. He got unlucky and played he got unlucky and played another down week for Tyler Lockett against you. And he did pick up the Cowboys, and they gave him positive defense points, which was a surprise. I expected that to be a terrible move for him as well.
Yeah, I would have done that. As a Cowboys fan, I would not have done that.
Y'all,
Brian actually just sent me a trade request, seeing that Dak got injured. He's trying to pounce on my team and prey on me. He just offered me Drew Brees for Todd Gurley straight up. He can go bleep himself. No.
I mean, as a
rocks for the PC, version of what you want to say.
But I may counter and see,
Yeah.
I'm saying, to me,
like the Lionel move. Maybe he's just coming out, trying to offend me, just trying to
can't throw you off your game.
Have a conversation.
I mean, as a strategy tip, this is probably the good time for people in their leagues to make an offer to the Dak owner. See if you can, catch them while they're a little off kilter. I know that I'm trying to pull that with someone in another league that I'm in, that I'm not in it with any of you guys. So I'm trying to pull that off, and it might become prosperous. So, these people are desperate. I might be able to pawn off, a Gardner Minshew on somebody. So, so we'll see.
I'm saying, man, I'm a reasonable dealer. Justin Herbert is coming off top 5 numbers over the last 3 weeks, at least. I haven't seen that, but I bet you Bennie Pennington over there.
Is that right?
I'll trade you the Saints D for him. Straight up.
Yeah, probably not. But good luck with Joe Burrow.
Probably not.
I do like to Lockwood's offer. Like, yes, probably would not do it, but I'm still in the same camp that I'm not believing Todd Gurley long term for the season. To me, it's a sell high moment for Todd Gurley. All the Todd Gurley owners out there, you got back-to-back double touchdown weeks from Todd Gurley. Like, I think this is the apex for him. But I will say the Falcons have been using Gurley the way that you can use him, keeping him under 20 carries a game, putting him in the right spots to succeed. So happy for Todd Gurley. I still think it's a sell high moment for him overall.
That's fair. I don't have a lot of running back depth behind Kareem Hunt and Todd Gurley. I had Tariq Cohen, who tore his ACL, and Tevin Coleman is on IR for another couple still. So if I traded Gurley, I mean, I'd be starting Cordero Patterson at running back.
Yeah, doesn't make sense for your team right now.
So,
unless you're able to grab someone off the wire, yeah.
So,
might not make sense.
There's nobody on the wire in our league. There's nobody on the wire. I can tell you that right now.
Did Brian get hit with a COVID game too? At least he got hit by the New England game getting pushed. But Damiere Byrd maybe. He also had Green Bay on bye. Held on to a kicker over the week. Okay. And AP and Philip Lindsay were also on bye this week. I feel like they were only scheduled to be 2 bye teams, right? And then we had the COVID game move, but whatever that is, another L for him. Brother Lockwood.
I'm sure you guys want to rip me for my Harrison Butker $2 kicker pay. And
sounds like you got some stats you want to get off for that. It's the only reason you
No, he actually cost me the high score of the week last week, or I'd be a 2 week in a row winner, or a 2-time winner of high score of the week. He missed an extra point that if he had made it, I would have been the high score of the week.
That's
also it's a 2-point swing, right?
Huh?
That's a 2-point swing, right?
It's a 3-point swing.
3-point swing.
2 point. Now this year they get 2 points for making the extra point because they got lose 1 for missing. So it was a 3.
They do? I feel like I don't know any of the rules.
I didn't know that either.
I don't know that rule either.
Swing when I looked at it. 80% sure that's correct. 80%.
Okay. I'll have to go back and check the score.
I end up losing by, the high score was by 1.9 or something. But I am a big Butker fan because he went to my high school. So I've tried to get him every year. And, of course, being the kicker on the highest powered offense in the league is value. So
yeah, and we always
PAT made still 1 point.
How much
minus 1, huh?
How much is a missed PAT?
Yep, -1. Every field goal in our league is -1 miss.
Huh. Okay, well, 2 point swing then.
2 points for
either way, $10 less rich. Yeah.
That's even worse, honestly, because then they literally was a kick. Like Archie would have lost by 0.1, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to go back and see exactly what the numbers were, but it was that close.
Yeah. Ooh. Well,
that is
141.6, and Archie had 143.0. So yeah, that 2 points would have given me the win by 0.58 points. That extra point.
Right. I feel like Tori would commiserate with you.
Well, also Manny commiserating with you tonight as I have lost by 0.9 points. So
no.
I had the comeback was happening. I was watching it on my screen. I didn't want to say nothing. If you guys caught me looking to the side, I was watching Ryan Tannehill throw touchdown after touchdown to Jonnu Smith, Derrick Henry running into. I was like, I might actually do this shit again. Another Monday Night Miracle. Oh shit.
Tuesday night.
A Tuesday night miracle. Tuesday night miracle. But this time, if you guys go look in the group me, it's been blowing up. I've been ignoring it because myself. But apparently, everybody's been like, "Yeah, David's about to come on the bad beat of the week," but he did not. He somehow survived. He somehow survived 111.2 to 110.3 against my COVID-19 squad. Who knows, Benny? You know about stat corrections, so come up on it and lose again.
I'm saying, all you need is the.
I was legitimately angry when that happened.
Oh man, I would say if you're within 1 point going into the end of the games, like you're definitely in stat correction in territory. We haven't seen any big ones, any big swings yet this year. I haven't seen it across any of my sites.
Yeah,
I think I lost. It's either Aaron Jones or Josh Jacobs. I think got like a catch turned into a rush or something once.
Yeah.
Right. That 0.5 can come or go easily.
Yep.
I'm looking at your squad right now here, man. But maybe they credit the Eagles with a sack or something like that later
I'll
on.
take it. I need this -1 to become a 0. just a 0.
That's the one I don't think I've ever seen. I've never seen like a defensive stat correction that's worth fantasy points come into play.
Yo, if that happens, bro, people will be screaming bloody murder in the Infamous League. So
Man, you got everyone. Steph Diggs scored for you tonight too, man. Everybody balled for you tonight.
The people who I traded for went off. It looks like it was a good trade, at least after week 1.
Yeah, you robbed that trade. Let's be real.
People,
right.
We don't talk about that trade because I feel like that trade was on paper fair, but in actuality, I think I won.
I mean, we had it as a maybe recap because I know we featured it coming into last week. Battle of 2-3-1 teams between our commissioner Black Panther, David Brown's Wakanda Mambas. Manny's run through a lot of the highlights already too, but David got big weeks from Kyler Murray, putting up another 27. Adam Thielen, I think, had 2 touchdowns, put up 24.8. Y'all both played negative scoring defenses.
Right.
And our league is not particularly punitive with the Ds. Manny leaving his namesake on the bench, Emmanuel Sanders for 18.2. DJ Charknado.
Would you have benched Chark for Sanders?
Probably not.
No, I don't think I would have. I think hindsight there is like you start like, but I would not.
No.
Would you bench Lamar Jackson for Derek Carr? No. So I played the best lineup I could.
You did. You played to win the game.
Yeah. And we came up short. Just came up short.
For now.
Like stat corrections do happen. Maybe Lamar gets an extra yard of rushing. Something can happen. Anything can happen. An extra yard of rushing would be enough.
No, it's only 0.1. You know, actually, you're 10.
Yards of rushing.
Right. Lamar gets a stat correction for that one batted down pass that he caught and ran for 6 yards to get him 1.1.
I'll take it. But that
points for the catch.
But we said going into last week when we talked with Jared that matchup, I thought that matchup was going to be a dogfight between me and Dave, and it turned out to be exactly that. So
it turned out that way. Dak caught a touchdown this past week too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's rough.
Yeah, it was a good battle. I mean, if we just recap that game, might as well go ahead and recap the other pod matchup.
Hey, I mean, it does look like we're in here for a final score.
It has been decided.
Final until the recap, the point adjustments come through. But I think I may have gotten past it barely. Me versus podmate Brother Watkins this week. Brooklyn Bridgestormers versus Am I There Yet? Coming into the Tuesday night game, down by 0.1 after I went into the Monday night game down quite a bit, and was delivered by Justin Herbert and his 35.3 points, subbing in for A-Rod on an off week, on a bye week, 4 touchdowns. Keenan Allen blessed me with a touchdown before he decided to take off for the rest of the night with a back injury. Hope he gets better soon. So I came in tonight needing 0.1, fully expecting for some shenanigans to happen. Even in the pre-production, I said Devin Singletary is going to get hurt while he fumbles, and it's going to be over. I had Devin Singletary. There was a while where he had only had 0.1, and we were tied. Before a high score of 3.8 points, there's me to victory.
Oh, jeez.
115.6 to 111.9.
Which is a margin of victory of 3.7. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. 3.7. Yeah.
So he needed every Devin
from Devin Singletary in another league, and that failed miserably.
It's Lionel. It's the Zach Ertz. This Zach Ertz you've been trying to move for the longest. We gotta move this Zach Ertz.
It's not possible now. But it's like, do I drop him? That feels like
that's where we're at.
That's terrible. It's like, do I drop him? Look, I have to.
Yeah, if you drop him, he's gonna get picked up. That's
the problem. Just to send him a message.
He's gonna get picked up.
We can definitely tweet at him from the pod account if you want to get some hate tweets off. Be like, yo, I would have rather played your wife this weekend, Zach Ertz. Shit.
Like you're the only tight end really left on your squad. How are you not?
Right, especially after Gutter went down. I definitely thought at least he was going to have some progression.
How are you not?
He had like 12 the game Goddard went down, and then after that, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, both tight ends disappeared, but at least Schultz was eating at one point.
Yeah.
Ertz just refuses to eat anything.
Now, it is very funny that this matchup literally had the exact same terrible ass tight end score matched up. Now, if you look, so like our defenses were essentially the same.
Yeah.
Our tight ends were effectively the same. The receivers, if you kind of look at the margins, like, are kind of the same. We both had a terrible running back.
There's a lot of similarities here in this matchup. You think that we talk about fantasy football together for 20 hours a week or something.
This shit is hilarious.
But yeah, same thing. Yeah. Not a lot of second guess choices for you here in the L either, right? Like, I don't think you could have set your lineup any differently and felt good about it going into it. I know we talked a little bit about it on Sunday, like when Henry Ruggs popped off early and he got them 2 catches for a fucking billion yards and a touch, right? You would have maybe thought that. Did Mostert ended up not playing? Was he
let's acknowledge that, right? So I just want to go ahead and get you guys behind the scenes footage into the happenings of the infamous league. So we typically communicate via a group chat, and today in the group chat, today via DM from the group chat, one of our first guest, brother Chris Evans, decided to come into the DMs and just let me know how bad of a play Jerick McKinnon was. Now, me being, the fun sport that I am, I see this as an opportunity for, some fellowshipping, some brothership, right? And so, I take it to the group chat, right? And I just let everybody know, like, look what this man said, essentially. And then he doubles down and is like, yeah, you fucked up playing Jerick McKinnon. And so within this matchup, he is clearly the outstanding outlier for my team. However, as you guys just acknowledged about the plays that I made, based on the fact that one, Tevin Coleman, as we just said before, is still on IR, and Raheem Mostert was just coming back.
Yep.
I take it analogously to how I was playing Henry Ruggs. If he's just coming back, you're not gonna assume that he's about to be 100%, right?
No.
Is Raheem Mostert a plug and play like that? Like, does he have that kind of status in the league? I don't think so.
No, that's why they have Jerick McKinnon and Tevin Coleman on that team.
Exactly, right?
And Jeff Wilson Jr.
Right, he was still getting carries, yo.
I gotta run. I appreciate you guys having me on. Any parting thoughts? Grant, you ready to fire back if any of my players fall down? You're gonna shoot back with some stats?
I'm just saying. I haven't seen the schedule. I'm looking forward to another APAC throwdown.
Yeah,
fucking battle for our middle title, and I do wish you the best of the season, compared to everybody but me.
Well, my final thoughts are, as much as I give you guys a lot of ridicule on specific players, being able to give a statistical analysis or being able to give analysis on, 200 players in the league is not easy. I give you guys a lot of props on the podcast. You definitely got a listener in me. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Benny.
Appreciate that, LB. Son, we're happy to have you back for your stat of the week anytime, man.
All right.
Yes.
Statistician of the league, honorarily.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed.
Have a good one, fellas.
All right, peace out, man. Go Mob.
And we'd like to thank Benny for joining us and dropping all that useful knowledge on the pod. We have great guests that always come in from our league, but this particular guest came in with, lock, stock, and barrel, and came with the numbers. And, as our friends in the business, Jamel Hill and Michael Smith used to say, numbers don't lie. So thank you again, Benny, for coming on and sharing your knowledge, all that pimp wisdom. We hope that you will keep listening to the show, and we hope to have you back on in the very near future. Grant, is there anything else you would like to either say to your LB? He came with a lot of smoke at you and the pod in particular.
I know, yo. My man held no punches. Like, no softballs going on between bros and APOC, son. We work hard, we play hard, fucking go hard, son. That's why we're the fucking best line ever, longest line to ever grace this lovely chapter of ours. And just, some records are meant not to be broken.
One of the best lines, yes.
But man, like, he's fucking, like you say, he's dropping knowledge, man. Like it felt like an anvil on my head, like I'm fucking Roadrunner out here, son.
Oh, no.
But now it's time for me to flip the script, son. Drop some knowledge on y'all punk bitches. Because guess what I got for you? Another beat down of the week. Once again, against a familiar foe. A brother down on his luck in his first return to the infamous league after an absence here. Brother Sean Jones, a.k.a. the Big Donation.
Oh, no.
Catching the L to our last week's guests, Brother Rollins, Jaron, with Randall, Donovan, Mike, and Jaron. Catching a 139.395 beatdown. Staring at the 40-plus point beatdown there. If I can do math in my head quickly, I think I can. Again, did not play Nick Mullins this week somehow. Figured that out. Hopefully you heard that on the pod. He also didn't play Jimmy G for -2 points, which was the only player on the bench he had eligible to play. So he played who he could play. He had no other options. He was not holding multiple defenses or Nick Mullins. And sometimes your team just doesn't show up to play, man. Caught that zero from Scotty Miller. That happened to me in another league, son. Started off your week with a fucking lump of coal in your stocking. Tannehill balled out for him on the rare Tuesday night. And without that, dog, like Sean was looking, Tannehill went for almost 30. Sean was looking at like another 70-point game. Easy. Was it not for that 31? And 20 points from Graham Gano, son. He's the kicker. So Jared's still rolling along. I'll take credit or whatever you take when it's anti-credit for getting it wrong about Jared's team by calling the African funeral off for him too early. 4-0. He's going to 5-0. He's undefeated team. He's going to be first place. Coming for you, son. But big games. Jared Goff. He got a good game from Jared Goff, who picked up off the wire. James Conner's doing his thing. He's still making the money off of Mike Davis. Mike Davis is more than paid off his fab dollars there. Tyreek Hill gave you the week you expect from him. Tyler Boyd, Greg Olsen, both maybe underperforming, but you got that 20 for Darrell Henderson coming off of a rough week prior when a lot of people were on him on daily, I know. The Rams defense putting up 22 against the Washington recent racists. And Robbie Gould also not getting negative points is what you like to see from a kicker. So congratulations to Jared on the beat down of the week. Sean, you left me hanging, bro. Call me. I'm trying to help you out. I was trying to help you out last week. You were already like, come on. I was actually about to just chalk it up and take the L against Lionel because I didn't have Aaron Rodgers. I was going to take people who weren't playing off your team and just like think towards the future. So thank you for helping me by not trading with me in a way, but you can still trade with me this week. So, I think I really only have one other thing for us to talk about when it came to Infamous last week. A lot of shit going on in the league. We saw another one of our guests. We've had some great guests. Brother Christopher Lamont Evans, come on here and catch the high score of the week, putting up a $153, $154. Huge payouts from, to your point previously, man. You're like, if you got Patrick Mahomes, you're in any of these games. We don't know how he's doing it, but he continues to do it. He got big game from friend of the pod, friend of the family, Jameson Crowder.
Duke.
Him with a 20-point game, as my shit is freaking out on me here. He got don't know Metcalf. Held onto the ball into the end zone this week before he goes out and bye, getting him a 24. And
also friend of the pod, DK Metcalf.
Also, everyone was in double digits for him other than James Robinson, who we were talking a lot about on last week's rundown.
I think we have to
inconsistency there. Go ahead.
I think let's also note that he had a savvy play. And I wasn't thinking about Chase Edmonds as a start this week, but that was a very savvy play going into the week, knowing Kenyon Drake was a little bit banged up. They said that he had just pretty much got the wind knocked out of him, but it looked like it was more serious than that. When I was watching the game, they had Edmonds in on most of a lot of those third downs. He was catching passes at the backfield. Edmonds looked really good. So that was a savvy play there. Chris is.
would not hesitate to agree with you wholeheartly if you were saying that about anyone else's team. But we've talked about Chris's team so much that we know, is it savvy or was it desperation? If you're not savvy when you pick number 2 on the roulette board and it hits. That shit is just fucking lucky, son.
Could just be luck.
How many more running backs did he have to choose from? Unfortunately, he lost Austin Eckler last week. Other running backs on his bench?
Yeah.
Malcolm Brown. That's it. That's all he's got on right now. He has 3 running backs that are active on his team, period, point blank, end of story.
Yeah.
So, this explains why Chris was so perplexed by the Jared McKinnon start. Chris doesn't use logic when it comes to it. Chris is just like, this is the dude I need to start this week. He feels it. It's a magic crystal ball for him. It's other than 2 championships, but that's gotta be the way it works.
2 championships and the high score of the week. So he's got something. There's a spreadsheet, or he's got some blackmail on Roger Goodell. Something's going on.
Definitely some sort of Moneyball situation here too. With he went into this week holding on to the Giants defense. He has no running backs, and he held on to the Giants defense.
Wait, he held on to the wow.
Why would you do that?
Wow.
I'm gonna take the time to click into it so we can see the ownership percentage for the Giants defense. We'd need you to garner a guess at percent rostered across all ESPN fantasy football leagues.
1.8%.
You're both over at 1.3%.
Oh my God. I mean,
For sevens, dog.
Giants.
How the fuck are you doing it? How the fuck are you doing it, dog? How?
This is some Rain Man shit.
Wait, do you pick against the spread too? Can we back you or something? Can I make money off this somehow?
I mean, yeah. I mean, keeping the Giants defense against Dallas seems very ambitious.
Right. Not played them, but held them in your bench because you knew you're going to want to use the Giants defense later again, perhaps. Or trade them, maybe.
Maybe he is looking forward into the schedule. Who's the Giants? Who's next on the Giants schedule?
Well, we know they're not playing the Giants. They're also not playing the Jets. So, those are automatically off the card for them.
They
are in the NFC East. Otherwise, other than Cowboys, NFC East not putting up a lot of numbers, but
I think he's going to play them for the next 2 weeks against Washington and probably Philly. Those are the next 2 matches.
But who's on the Giants defense that makes you really big play Slays? He got traded there, right?
Darius Slays there.
Is he there? I know he got traded from Detroit. I can't remember where he got traded, but I think it was the Giants.
That might be right. That might be correct. But even then, like
he's one corner, and he's not that kind of corner. Doesn't change the team.
Yeah, maybe I would go the Giants against Washington, but
maybe like if you were in a 14-team league and the Giants were available on the wire,
I would pick them up.
And there was nothing else there. Like, you're attractive to the matchup.
This is my fantasy prediction of the week. Start anybody against the Washington defense as long as they start Alex Smith, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Or against the Washington offense, I should say. Or start any defense against the Washington offense.
Right.
Wow.
Man, Chris, I mean, respect, but I'm certainly looking forward to having to play your Island Misfits Toys team next week. In our preview of the week here, looking forward into yet another week in the infamous league, week 6. Who's going to play? Who's going to show up? Who knows? I don't know. Right now, it's looking like it'll be pretty even coming out the box on the projections, roughly 100 points each for us here. I'm going to be getting A-Rod back off the bye, and Justin Herbert sliding into the bye, coming off a 30-plus point week for me. He's currently hasn't played the whole season. He's 15th ranked quarterback in the league. What am I gonna do? I need roster spots. I got to bring Le'Veon Bell off my bench, assumedly. So now that he's a free agent, I don't know if we haven't. I don't think we talked about that yet. Also, update we got here tonight while we've been recording during the Titans-Bills game. Adam Schefter tweeting out that the Jets have made a move with Le'Veon Bell and have just dumped him to the curb. I don't even know how much they paid for him, but they are the ones that paid him after he held out of football.
Yep.
And it was reported earlier today, Jets seeking a trade, because he's popping off about Adam Gase. My Negrodamus moment was like, I don't even need to go crazy. He's like, just fucking Adam Gase, get him off my team this year. Get him out of here. Would never have Negrodamus my way into Le'Veon Bell will be released from the Jets before Adam Gase is. So
insane.
Jets, what the fuck are you doing? But I'm also lost Keenan Allen this week to a back injury. So he's going to be on bye next week. Hopefully he can get right and come back for me off the bye there. I'm still going to be running with Sanders and Singletary most likely, even though Singletary barely brought me across the threshold tonight. I do have some exciting pieces on the bench to choose from. Hello, Laviska Shenault. What's up, bro? Definitely looking to make a trade. Sean Jones, like I said, don't get the beat down of the night against you. Beat down of the week 3 weeks in a row. I think that should make you eligible for relegation, right? Is there a baby infamous league? They're going to start with the kids or something, where they're playing for free or something with the chapter bros. Maybe you should go get some warm up down there, Sean.
That thought has come up of having a relegation of the worst 2 teams in the league gets relegated out the league, and then 2 new teams come into the league, and it just cycle.
You don't even get a chance to make a way back and from playing this year. You're just out, son. You're done, son.
You're just done.
I want to see your manager. What, nigga? I am your manager. What's up? You're the manager? That's right. How are you? You done. That's it. Your job is done, nigga. Get out. I'll call you later, nigga. What are you talking about?
Fucking job is done, son.
It's like you got skunked once you got on the court in 21. Nah, get off. Get off.
Better luck next year.
Yep.
Maybe not.
Chris is going to be coming up against me. Yep. Saying, we're both 3-1 heading into this matchup. We're both being 4-1 heading into this matchup. Excuse me. Chris still stacked against me next week for Chris's team, I guess. I don't know. Pat Mahomes, always scared about that. He's got no running backs. He still only has Chase Edmonds, James Robinson, and Malcolm Brown coming into this week. Not worried about any of those, to be honest. DK Metcalf's on a bye. Will Fuller had points last week. Don't expect him to do that 2 weeks in a row. Jimmy Graham, he can catch a touchdown. That's fine. Jameson Crowder, we're always going to, throw respect out to you, former Duke and Jet great. And whatever. Maybe he'll play the Giants D against me. Scared of that. And whoever he's playing kicker, whatever, right? Whatever. I bet you he plays Robert Tonyan and Jimmy Graham next week for the rare tight end flex stack, because that just seems like a Chris thing to do, and I'm going to lose. I'm sure I'm going to lose. Whatever.
Oh, no. Don't.
Grant is a heavy believer in the reverse jinx, as am I. However, it did not work this week.
You came heavy with the reverse jinx. During after the 1 o'clock games, I had like a little bit of lead. It's a wrap. I was like, you got me too. I kind of felt good about it. I was like, okay. Yeah, it looks like I saw the Miles Sanders like 70-yard touchdown run in real time. I was like, okay, I can dig this. I'm just not even gonna worry about it. I'm gonna go play some games in the backyard. Enjoy my Sunday. Came back, sat down for the 8 o'clock game. I was getting rocked. Down like 40. I was down 45. I was down 45 when I was drawing dead at the end of Sunday night. And I was like, 15-point game from everybody gets me there. They just had to Tetris it in there.
Mm-hmm. Figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. Devin Singletary was the single square in my Tetris game at the end. Yeah, man. So me, Chris, coming for you as well. If you want to wager on this game, I'm open to it. Just hit me up. You know my number. We can make that happen. So I think that's all I got for the infamous segment here, brothers. Any last parting words for the chapter for our friends out there, for the podcast listeners?
David, you got lucky. Congratulations, Dean, but you got lucky. I just needed anything to happen. No Tuesday Night Miracle, but it was a good match. Appreciate you. And
I'm still waiting for the first score correction change. Let's see, can we get it this week?
I'm looking to bounce back next week against Jared.
Twitter will blow up about the podspiracies.
but yeah, that's all. I'm glad that we're still playing football.
Yeah.
For the Watkins.
Yeah, I'm just philosophically, I guess. I'm just glad that, when it comes to interactions and shit talking and clowning on each other's teams and, telling each other that we're trash and all that stuff, that, everybody takes it in stride and in good faith and, comes back with it as well. Because it just adds to the fun. I'm somebody cut from that cloth where, I both can dish it out and take my lumps. I don't like taking my lumps, but I can do it if need be. But yeah,
comes with the territory.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's been circumstances notwithstanding, as far as COVID and everything. I would say this has been one of the most fun seasons. This podcast, I would say, playing a big part in that. Cough, cough, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So.
1,000%.
Those virtual pats on the back for all y'all. I think a lot of people are feeling that same exact sentiment as you this year, Lionel. Like Tori said it best, right? What's he think about fantasy football? It's a chance to get, closer with your homies, closer with your friends. We all put it for little coins. It makes the shit talking better. But all my best leagues are with people that you actually know and maybe even care about a little bit, because it's more important for you to beat those people and let them know that you're better than them at things. Things that you all have the same amount of access to information about. The rules are all out there. No shenanigans going on behind the scenes here. We got bylaws.
Right. It's not LeBron against, Alex Caruso, right?
Yo, one more of these weeks and Sean Jones needs to change his name to Alex Caruso, team name, son.
Danny Green at the top of the key. That's his team name.
I don't know if you guys are interested in the final standing projections that ESPN has put out, but they have drastically changed.
We got updates. Did they load the this week's wins or not? Yes or no? No.
I don't know, but they have moved at the Galladay Inn from projected first to third, moving Wakamba Mambas to first after his win against me. Moved me to second from third. Sent Team Ross from 2 to 14 after Lionel's trade with him.
Just to clarify, 2 was from the draft though. Like they never update you along the way, so it looks weirder than it is. But yeah,
no, he was 2 at the draft.
At the draft, right?
Yeah. You've moved up, Grant, from 11 from the draft to 4. So,
I think I previously made it to 3 or 2 though. So
yeah. And yeah, Benny's up to 5 now from 8. So yeah, we're everybody on this. Let's see, Lionel. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. You're coming back. You're still in the hunt. You're still in the hunt. You're not. You didn't drop too far back because you still have Mike Evans. You still have people on your squad. So
You have thrown out no number. I know
it's you went from 6 to 9, so you're still in the playoff hunt. You're still in the hunt.
Margin of error.
Yeah, you're still in the hunt.
I'm a division winner. That's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be a division winner. Wild card, baby. Let's get it.
But yeah, so a lot of movement. There's gonna be a lot of movement all year round. That's what it looks like here. So I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Definitely has been a
Wasn't
positive
that
moment
like
for all of us.
last week based on projections?
Yeah.
This shit changes wildly every week, though.
Every week, it's just wild changes every week. I have stuck around third and second for the most part, so I'm happy where I'm standing right now. But
hey, I'll say emotionally, I have moved from fourth to ninth emotionally.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, man. I would say, just right now, I do think 100% agree with Tori, man. Fantasy football is about talking shit with your friends this year, more important than ever, as we're back here behind the bubbles in the boxes. Also very ironic that this is our main way of communicating with people, and it's the way we're bringing you the podcast this year. But, leagues keep starting, do some DraftKings with your friends, whatever it is. Find something. There's fantasy out there. I feel like Barry's got fantasy movie league. Like, there's EPL out there. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Good time with your people, so. Appreciate it to all the brothers. Go Mobs to the guests. And we'll catch you next week on Issues and Concerns.